All right, here's the stunning story that we've been talking about this morning. It is breaking news, and you will hear it only here first on America's Newsroom. Shocking news out of a hospital in the Northeast where an 11-year-old girl has given birth to a healthy 5-pound baby girl. Now, this news, of course, raises so many questions. So many things go through your mind when you hear something like this. To answer some of them, I'm joined by Dr. Manny Alvarez, who broke this story for us and is here with me, and also psychiatrist Dr. Keith Abloh, who joins us from Boston. And I want to talk to Dr. Manny first. You know, Dr. Manny, your heart sinks. When I heard this story, my heart literally sunk into a pit. And you immediately picture your own children. I have 3 children that are in this age range, and I think to myself, my God, what if one of them came to me with this? You can't wrap your brain around an 11-year-old girl, 10 years old at the time she got pregnant. You know, clear up for everybody, because this was the first thing that came into my mind. And I want to just also say that we're not disclosing any details about where this happened. This hospital, this family obviously deserves their privacy. They've gone through a lot. Talk to me about, you know, how is this handled, and is this an abuse situation? Is something I want you to rule out for everyone right away.
Well, I don't think that we don't have all the details of the case, but this was a pregnancy that very early on the family sought out medical help, which is one of the fundamental issues when you have a teen pregnancy. This is not a teen pregnancy. This is a pre-teen pregnancy. Yes. So it was very wise for the family to seek out medical help, which they did. This is one of the most challenging types of pregnancy because a 10, 11-year-old body has very limited capacities to really develop a full-term pregnancy. And there's really no data. This is just a handful of cases that perhaps has been reported. We did one last week on a girl from China who was 9.
Unbelievable.
So the challenges for the high-risk OB team is enormous. Yes, you have the social issues which have to be cleared out, but then you have medical complications. And if you look at some of the data for teen pregnancies, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, you have a 6-fold increase in things like high blood pressure and bleeding and small-sized babies that get delivered, in other words, premature babies, liver complications. I mean, so the panoply of different medical complications are huge. So the doctors have to be a step ahead, if you will, in trying to monitor these things and ultimately get this little girl to have a healthy delivery.
So you've got a child delivering a child.
That is correct.
Essentially. Talk to me about, this was a C-section delivery.
Right.
And I just wanted, so there was a boyfriend involved in this particular situation, we believe, right? Okay. Talk to me about how this is possible. This age is, a couple of years younger than most girls are even able to become pregnant. Are we seeing a physiological change in young girls that they are more able, that they're getting their period earlier, basically?
Well, that's for sure. The maturity of a lot of adolescent girls is really moving a little bit earlier. You see typically a menstrual cycle will develop in a young little girl at the age of perhaps 11, 12. Now we're seeing as early as 8. So once that starts, basically your body is ovulating, and if you have intercourse at the age of 9 or 10, theoretically you can get pregnant. But the issues are that, the complications are enormous when you look at this.
But let's take a look. We have one picture that we do want to show you. This is a picture of the little baby. It's a girl. And she is beautiful, a beautiful, healthy child, and that is the part of the story that we're grateful for. But Dr. Abloh, let me bring you in, because there's another child in this story, and this is the child at 10 years old who became pregnant. Unfathomable to any parent who hears this story. How do you deal, and I asked Dr. Manny this, he said there was a psychologist with her throughout this procedure, and the family services people also, because this is the other child who needs to be taken care of in this story, right?
Absolutely. There's no question, Martha. This is heart-wrenching because you do have a kid whose mental capacities can't possibly wrap themselves around what it means to be a mother here. There are so many psychological minefields in store for her. Feelings of guilt, feelings of, wanting to nurture another human being, and yet, this is all very, very complex and intense when she looks to her own family, essentially to support and, if you will, father her child. She's dependent and yet she has a dependent human being on her. She has her own life plan, and yet there's another life that should take precedence. So this is absolutely a psychological minefield. You'd want her and this little girl to get help as soon as she can make sense of getting help as well psychologically.
You know, the three stages of this that are, you know, so hard to sort of wrap your mind around. Sex for a child at this age, hard to imagine. Birth, going through. Most of us have a hard time dealing with that concept as, you know, fully grown adults. And also, what happens now? You know, I mean, what happens now? How does she put this? How does she put this in any kind of perspective and hope to live a somewhat normal life?
Well, look, with the most supportive of families and the best of psychological care, you'd hope that she would say of this that it wasn't anything planned, but that as a family, we're going to make the best of this. You have a responsibility that you couldn't have possibly understood to this little girl whom you will love, but you have to love yourself too. And that means that we're going to protect you in the future. There are also going to be feelings here, Martha, of why wasn't I protected?
Right.
And these may not come up until she's 22 and in a psychiatrist's office like mine. Where was my family? Why didn't I get the messages I needed in order to abstain?
I just want to ask you one quick question before I go on. I'm sorry
Also, culturally, this is a moment we better
Yeah.
take notice of. These girls, they are sexually mature at an earlier age, and we have to try to safeguard what we've all built together in terms of giving young girls and women the time
Dr. Avalo,
to
just
develop
in
individually.
10 seconds, if you can, for me, would you advise this family to, you know, as this baby grows up, to say you're just one of ours, and to not mention the fact that this child is actually the mother, because that's what happens in a lot of these situations? Is that a good way to go for this family?
I don't think so. I think buried truths come back to haunt people, and they get stronger and stronger. I'm a big fan of the truth.
All right, Dr. Avalo, thank you very much. And Dr. Manny Alvarez, thank you for bringing us this story, which I know is going to get a lot of people thinking about what's going on in a lot of ways in this country. And we wish this family, of course, all the best in dealing with it. Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks, Dr. Manny. All right, you can go to foxnews.com/health to learn more about this story and also about the dangers, of course, that are present in a child having a child at this very young age. There's also a situation in China, as Dr. Manny mentions, which is very similar, and another thing that you can sort of think about with all of this. Thank you very much.